All right, in Deuteronomy chapter 11, Moses wraps up this section of his speech by saying, "You have a choice, blessing or curse, life or destruction. Choose well." He urges Israel to love and obey God from the heart and warns them that their future in the promised land depends on it, okay? So to discuss this chapter, we're going to divide it in 6 parts, okay? The first 5 main parts encompasses remember what God has done. The second, obey for a long and blessed life. The third, keep God's word close. The fourth, God will drive out the nations. And the fifth, blessing or curse you must choose. And the final part are the things and lessons, okay? So first things first, let's start with remember what God has done, which encompasses verses 1 to 7. Moses reminds them again God's great act in Egypt, the defeat of Pharaoh's army in the Red Sea, the judgment of Dathan and Abiram, who rebelled with Korah. You can check number 16 to see that. And God's power through the wilderness. It was your own eyes that saw all these great things. So, lesson personal experience of God's power should lead to deep loyalty, all right? The next part of the chapter covers obey for a long and blessed life, which encompasses verses 8 to 17. Moses tells them, obey God's commands to be strong and live long in the land. The promised land is not like Egypt, where you watered crops by hand. It's a land of hills, rain, and dependence on God's care. God watches over it year round. A land the Lord your God cares for, right? In His words. But if they turn to idols, God will withhold rain and they will perish from the land. Lessons. Obedience brings abundance, but idolatry brings loss. In the new land, you'll depend daily on God, not human effort, okay? Third part of the chapter is keep God's close, verses 18 to 21. Moses repeats what he said in Deuteronomy 6, okay? Fix God's words in your heart. Tie them on your hands and foreheads. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at home, on the road, at bedtime, and in the morning. Write them on doorposts and gates, okay? So that your days may be many in the land. Lesson. Keep God's truth at the center of life for you and your family. The fourth part is God will drive out the nations, verses 22 to 25. If they love and obey God, He will drive out all the nations before them, make them unstoppable, give them territory from the desert to Lebanon, from the Euphrates to the Eastern Sea, okay, which is the Mediterranean. So no one will be able to stand against you. Yeah, which is verse 25. Lesson. Obedience leads to victory. Expansion and peace honors God's protection, okay? So, the fifth part is blessing or curse you must choose, which encompasses verses 26 to 32. See, I am setting before you today a blessing and a curse, okay? Blessing if you obey, curse if you disobey and follow other gods. When they enter the land, they are to declare these blessings from Mount Gerizim and the curses from Mount Ebal. Okay, this is carried out later in Joshua chapter 8. So let's check the things and lessons from this chapter, Deuteronomy 11. The first is remembering God's acts builds faithfulness. What God has done should shape your what God has done should shape how you live now. Second lesson, dependence on God is a daily discipline. The land depends on rain, and rain depends on your relationship with God. Third, faith must be central in your family. God's word is for talking, teaching, writing, and living, okay? Fourth lesson, obedience unlocks God's power and protection. God's people win when they walk in His ways, okay? Fifth lesson, life is a choice. Blessing or curse, okay? Obedience and idolatry each lead somewhere. You choose the path, okay? So in this chapter, is Moses shouting from the mountain, God is faithful. Don't forget, choose life. It's a chapter about taking spiritual responsibility for yourself, your family, and your future in the land God has given, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video. Drop here in the comments what you think about if I should change the structure.